Hello, welcome back to Unit 9. This is a video over Section 3, and what we're going to be talking about today are verifying trigonometric identities. So these are sometimes thought of as proofs, okay, which aren't really that fun unless you're really into math, but not really. So they're thought of as proofs, and what we want to do is we're given these problems and we want to match the left side of the equation to the right side. Match the left side to the right side of an equation. Okay? And so when in this, we're going to be using all of those identities, and we're just going to be verifying that these identities are true, okay? So let's go through the ones that we know for sure, and let's just kind of talk about our trig identities. So let's write these out. So we've got our trig identities. Okay, and the first one I want to talk about is, you've got sine of x, and you've got cosine of x, okay? Those are just the standard ones, okay? I'm just going to leave those there because they don't really do much. But the other thing I want to talk about is tangent of x and cotangent of x. Tangent of x, remember, is sine of x over cosine of x, and I have cotangent is cosine of x over sine of x, okay? The other one that we have is secant of x and cosecant of x. Secant is 1 over cosine of x. Cosecant is 1 over sine of x, okay? And so all of these trig functions, we know what sine is, we know what cosine is, but all of my 4 other trig functions we can express in terms of sine and cosine. And that's kind of the, the thing that we want to be able to do, okay? The other thing that we can do, that we have, is we have our Pythagorean identities, okay? So we're kind of writing stuff we've written before. Sine squared of x plus cosine squared x is equal to 1. The others are tangent squared x plus 1 is equal to secant squared x. Okay, and then 1 plus cotangent squared x is equal to cosecant squared x, okay? So these are our just generic trig identities that we need to know, okay? And, those are just ones we just need to have memorized, because these are the ones that we're going to be using quite a bit to do this work here. So let's do this. Let's actually just jump into a problem. I'm just going to do a couple of examples because, a lot of these problems are just kind of at case-by-case basis. So I'm just going to verify the trig identity. Okay? And what we want to verify in this is that secant squared of x minus tangent of x times cotangent of x is equal to tangent squared x, okay? And so for this, a couple different things. What I notice is that tangent and cotangent are reciprocals of each other, okay? So what I can do is, go back up use this. I know that cotangent is also equal to 1 over tangent of x. All right? And that works for a lot of, I can write this as 1 over cotangent of x, okay? And so, we can do that, all right? That's fine. And so what I'll do that here because I can simplify that. So secant squared of x minus tangent of x times 1 over tangent of x is equal to tangent squared x, okay? Now, the other thing that I have, that I can realize here is that the tangents divide out. So then we're simply just left with secant squared x minus 1 is equal to tangent squared x. Okay, now let's use this guy over here, all right, our Pythagorean identity. Okay, so remember we're going to use tangent squared x plus 1 equals secant squared x. All right, and so then all I have to do to get to that identity is I just need to add 1 to both sides, and I get that secant squared x is equal to tangent squared x plus 1, and that's good, okay? As long as we've gone from, our initial equation down to a usable identity that we've already done, then that's what we need to do. Okay, so then the next one that we're going to do, same thing, we'll verify the trig identity. But let's come in here. We want to verify that sine of x over cosecant of x plus cosine of x over secant of x is equal to cosecant squared x minus cotangent squared x.
1 over sine?
Yeah, so let's do that. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do sine of x over 1 over sine of x plus cosine of x over 1 over cosine of x. And then...
Let's just turn into cosine of x squared and sine of x squared?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, over here, cosecant squared x minus cotangent squared x. Yeah, so then you would multiply by the reciprocal, okay, instead of dividing. So you'd get sine of x times sine of x plus cosine of x times cosine of x. And then cosecant squared x minus cotangent squared x. Okay, at that point, yeah, you're right. This becomes sine squared x plus cosine squared x. And that's going to equal cosecant squared x minus cotangent squared x. Now, so sine squared x plus cosine squared x, that's equal to 1. Okay, and we got to use that Pythagorean identity. And then that's equal to cosecant squared x minus cotangent squared x. Now, remember we have this Pythagorean identity here. 1 plus cotangent of x equals cosecant squared x. So all I need to do is add cotangent squared x to both sides and we're done. So add cotangent squared x, add cotangent squared x, and so we get 1 plus cotangent squared x is equal to cosecant squared x. And that's one of our identities. And so we're done and we're good. Okay, so yeah, it's just being able to start, add a statement, and do the algebra to work through it to get down to something that we know, okay? And that's the idea. All right? See ya. Bye.